You know, my dad always told me to wear a red helmet on showcases. Red helmet, red shell.
Red helmet?
Stand out. You got to stand out somehow, you know.
But you didn't play for a team that had a red helmet?
No, we just bought a red helmet just to stand out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's the red helmet. It's the red helmet theory.
The red helmet method.
Red helmet method. Yeah, it's the new method. You wear a red helmet and ball out, and you will get noticed by. That's what I did my whole life.
Oh my, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Welcome to the Hockey Review Podcast. To become the best, you have to surround yourself with the best.
That's what we're working on. Skills that translate.
Wait, so it's like a parade?
Yeah, it was a parade.
No way, that like a parade.
Pretty chaotic start for sure, and that was junior hockey for me.
What's up, hockey players and parents? Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Review Podcast. Today, I'm joined here with current pro and mindset mentor, Mark Cheremeta. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be in LA.
Sunny LA. Well, I mean, it's kind of overcast.
A little gloomy today, but yeah.
A little gloomy, but I mean, obviously, kind of a journey to get here. It's not an easy place to park and find.
No.
we were trying to find, this is where you park. This is it was a mission.
I got a little antsy at that because I was just like, oh my God, podcast, like UCLA, college, and figured it out. So
we're here now. Yeah. So yeah, definitely want to get into your story and your path to where, it led you to now. And basically your journey from playing hockey in the US and now you're playing pro overseas. So definitely want to just learn about your journey, your takes, and I'm sure you have a lot to share. So
yeah, hella take.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
It takes, but yeah,
we want to hear them. So
where do you want to start, man?
Well, let's start first of all by just going over just your career, a brief intro. Where do you want me to start from? Youth. Let's start where you started playing. Yeah, in youth.
Yeah, I mean, I did the whole AAA thing when I was really young. It turned out to be in Florida. It was just not really. It was kind of a waste of money at that time, around 11, 12. My dad pulled me out. He's like, dude, we're just going to go play single A, double A. And that's when I really started leveling up, I guess. My dad was a coach. So I was on the ice constantly just getting the repetitions and which was nice. Single A, double A until I was 14, 15 for the Golden Wolves. Golden Wolves.
In Florida?
Yeah, Pines Ice Arena. Shout out Pines Ice Arena. And then, basically after that, I was supposed to go to Honey Baked for a year, when I was 15. Ended up playing a tournament in Detroit. This is what not many people know about is we were playing a tournament in Detroit, and next thing you know, one of my defensemen shot the puck. It was a little high, and it hit me in the head. And back then, we didn't wear earpieces in Florida. We were all beauties, all style.
So it kind of rung your bell a little bit.
Yeah, no, it hit me in the left temple. I blacked out. Suffered a brain bleed.
Really?
We thought it was we thought it was just a regular concussion. I ended up finishing the game, left the game afterwards, ended up losing the ability to talk Russian. I lost the ability to speak Russian at the time that day, and then for the next couple of days. So that's when we knew something was wrong. I ended up not playing the rest of that weekend and ended up going back home. Went to the hospital after the flight. They said, yeah, it's just a concussion, rested off. Couple days later, had a seizure, collapsed. And then, that put me out for 6 months. That was a dark time for me, but looking back, it was a blessing in disguise because, everything is always a blessing in disguise, right? This is what I always tell people. It's what I preach is that it might seem terrible now, but God is giving you this for a reason, right? It put me in a pretty bad depression for 6 months. I couldn't skate. I couldn't go to school, nothing. I was just in bed, right? Had to do speech therapy. And then that kind of cut my career to going to play AAA in Honey Baked, right? So then that was oh, fuck. I was internally, I was hockey's done, right?
You thought you were I thought this could be over.
Yeah, because the doctors were saying, hey, if you play and you get hit again, you're kind of cooked. Life is not going to be the same for you. But I don't know. I started sneaking back on the ice in the summer, and it was a really difficult process. to get back. Like it was like constantly feeling lightheaded and tired after a concussion, but a brain bleed, it's a different level. Ended up just skating with the local tier 3 team there. I'll get back to why that was a blessing maybe later on, because it was like basically natural law of detachment, right? Natural just letting go of the actual goal of playing at such a high level. That's why so many players these days, they have issues and they're not letting things flow in their life because they're gripping onto something too much, right? So this almost injury allowed me to loosen the grips, the claws on my goal, and allowed me to just enjoy hockey for a few years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Like, I feel that sometimes when guys are too concerned about, let's say, their point production, like, oh my God, I'm not scoring, I'm not on the stat sheet, they get really tough on themselves. And it kind of prevents them from, like you said, flowing, getting that, just having fun out there on the ice and getting in that flow state, right?
That in particular, like, getting down on yourself, that's because their validation is in points. Their validation, their identity is in points. Their identity is in stats. It's in D1. It's in all these materialistic 3D things, right? Where I wish my identity when I was a kid, I wish it was if it was just in God, right? Not on even a religious-based Christian, Catholic, Buddhist, whatever it is. Like if your identity is just in something larger than you will not go up and down on these like droughts or point stuff or all that jazz. Does that make sense?
You kind of stay more level-headed, right?
Because your identity is not in that, right? Your identity is in something larger,
something bigger, right?
And you only worry about what that person or that thing or that universe thinks about you, and that all that. God or universe, whatever you want to call it, all they think about you is that you're perfect and you're loved, right? So how can you go wrong? How can you ever go wrong in life?
Because you have that backing, that support, right?
You have that backing, and many people think it's religion or something like that. No, it's just building your connection through meditation. It's building your connection through stillness, through being quiet, through figuring out the past patterns of yourself, all the faulty programming that you had, all the faulty programming from your parents. Like part of the game of life as hockey players or just in general in business or whatever it is figuring out the faulty beliefs that your parents had. Because what your parents didn't figure out got passed on to you. That took me a while to realize. What your parents didn't figure out in their lifetime as kids, right?
Because it's passed on to you.
It's passed on to you. And you must, that's why before I have kids, I'm going way deeper than I need to in order to figure out everything so my kids don't have to worry about all this shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, all this insecurity, like stuff like that, yeah, it's normally passed on from the parents, but there's other things. Coaches, there's fucking crazy people out there. There's crazy coaches that when they say one thing or something happens in a kid's memory, in their subconscious, that gets stored a specific way. And that gets imprinted for the rest of their life. So when I work with players, or on myself, right, I'm identifying what part of the subconscious, what the subconscious believes or what the subconscious remembers. Because if the subconscious remembers a coach telling you that you're not good enough when you're 12, now the rest of your life, or your dad telling you, oh, like you need to work harder because you're not talented enough. You have to outbeat everybody. Guess what your perception of the world is for the rest of your life? Well, I have to outwork everybody. I have to put in double the effort. I have to do this. I have to do that just to prove that I'm good enough. And that's how the person lives the rest of their fucking life, especially in work, in hockey, in relationships. They're proving everything. So you can see how this is now coming into one natural big thing. It's not just about hockey. Right? I don't even know how we got to this point, but we got here, you know?
Yeah, we're already deep into this. Yeah, this is great. I mean, like, yeah, I feel like when you have like these, these figures in your life kind of push these ideas or, you have to do this, you have to do that. When you're young, let's say, you're saying it's like, oh, you kind of subconsciously will always hear that in the back of your mind. And that can kind of taint your view of the world and kind of also taint your view, of your self-worth, right?
Yeah. And sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes you don't even know, right? Because subconscious, it's going in the back of your head. But most people, most players, most people in the world, they're asleep. They're not aware of the 24/7 chatter in their brains. They don't meditate. They don't have a stillness protocol. They don't know how to manage themselves. And if they don't know how to do that, they're not taking into account every single thought that enters their mind, right? And if they don't do that, what do you think they're missing? What kind of fears do you think that they're skipping over their minds? What kind of limiting beliefs? What kind of bad self-talk do you think is always in their minds that they're not even aware of because they're not even aware of what they're thinking? But that's the subconscious level. If you go down to the unconscious level, there's stuff from the unconscious that they don't even know that is driving their entire lives. They don't even know. It's not even, it's unconscious.
They just don't know what could be underneath all that.
Completely unaware. And that's the scariest part, is when you don't know and you're trying to do all these surface level things to become confident. You're doing all these surface level things to make yourself be this man, or, oh, I don't give a shit about this, or, you know, the classic not give a fuck attitude, which I preach, but you're doing it from a surface level place. And it's never real. It's never true. It's never genuine to the core.
Because it could be a fake persona you're putting on, right?
Then you're developing a persona. Will that persona get you far enough in life and move you to the next part? Yes. Yes. But then you will never get to your genuinely true part of your soul. You'll never get rid of that persona. That's even now. I'm 26 years old. I'm still shedding parts of the ego. I'm still shedding parts of the personas that I've created. The D1 persona, the pro persona, the 7-figure entrepreneur persona. Right? I'm shedding all that because none of that stuff matters at the end of the day. None of that matters. I don't know what matters. I think what matters is figuring out what you like to do. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like what makes you happy, right? Well, truly happy, let's say.
Yeah. And most of the time, it's not about relaxing. I mean, yes, relaxing or doing nothing, but it's how can you serve people? How can you help people? How can you do something that you really enjoy doing? And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That stuff still to figure out. But yeah, back to the story.
Like growing up, you know, your career, right? Yeah, you said, so one thing that stood out to me about your story just off the bat was you took a break immediately from playing AAA. You played Tier 2, Single A. A lot of kids don't do that when they want to, if they have a goal of playing a high level, they think they always have to play the highest level, the best team. Looks like you kind of saw that. Oh, no, I mean, it was too much. Like, you know, I need to step back, right? I
was blessed enough that, you know, my parents saw that and they pulled me out. But I think what people don't realize is you can get committed at 14 or 16, and then even with all these new rule changes coming out, who cares about that? Even if you get committed at 16, like 5 years ago when it was a lot easier to go D1, you're still, like, even if you're not at that level of the 0.01% by 19 or 20, you're cooked. So what does it matter where you play AAA at 12 or 14 or 16, right? Obviously 16, you want to, you know, set yourself up. But I was playing Tier 3 at 16, right? It really doesn't matter. It's where you end up. It's about the goal, right? What is your goal? Do you have the end goal in sight? Is it impressed into your subconscious mind? Okay. Is it a part of you? And is that thing driving you? We talk about the subconscious. Well, if you impress your subconscious with a specific goal, what do you think is going to drive you? Naturally, every single day, your movements, your habits, your waking up time, all this jazz, right? So yeah, I mean, after Single A, Double A, it was the best thing in the world because I became the man. You always want to be somewhat of the man where you are, right? Many of my mistakes in life is that I went to places where I was like, okay, this is the best level I can get to. There's a chance that I will grow with this team and become one of the top guys. There's also a chance that I don't overcome those things. I don't overcome those challenges, and I will get
pushed to the bottom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's ever. Maybe for me, it's never middle, right? It's always. Maybe that's a limiting belief now that I'm thinking about that. Maybe that's a way that my brain thinks, is that it's either the top or you get
your bottom.
You get screwed.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I ended up just playing Tier 3. I started skating with the Tier 3, the local Palm Beach Hawks. Shout out Palm Beach Hawks. USPHL Empire,
Yeah. Back then they were called Empire, right?
It was Empire,
Yeah.
Premier. No, it was Empire, Elite, Premier.
Premier, right.
Right
yeah.
now
It was NCDC, right? That wasn't new.
No, it wasn't even a thing.
Now
Now
it's
it's
back. Yeah.
now it's what is it? Premier or
It goes Elite, Premier, and CDC. Yeah.
Right.
So it's all changed now.
So yeah, I started skating with the team, and I was like, I feel good. Might as well just play here.
Yeah. And then from there, so you played, I guess, tier 3 there. You made a jump though to the USHL, right?
Yeah, crazy jump.
And that going from tier 3, what was that progression to the USHL?
The progression was, like I said, when you use Law of Detachment, when you don't really know what's going on, and you almost like take the goal off the back burner for a second. I went into a showcase in the summer. And at the end of the day, like, you only need one guy to look at you, right? So I went into a showcase, did my thing. My dad always told me to wear a red helmet on showcases. Red helmet, red shell.
Red helmet?
Stand out. You got to stand out somehow,
But you didn't play for a team that had a red helmet?
No, we just bought a red helmet just to stand out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's the red helmet. It's the red helmet theory.
The red helmet method.
Red helmet method. Yeah, it's
Wow.
the new method. You wear a red helmet and ball out, and you will get noticed by. That's what I did my whole life.
Oh my, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny. I mean, one time I was doing an all main camp for Odessa, and my dad. We were like it was one of the last games. It was the third game of the main camp. My dad had, for some reason, taken out my gear in the hotel room to air it out. And he was like, yeah, I packed it all back. Yeah, let's go. But he forgot to pack the jersey, like the camp jersey that was assigned.
yeah.
So then, so we get to the locker room. I'm trying to find my jersey, and it's just like, where's my jersey? I'm like, what the fuck? Like my dad he's like, oh yeah, it was hanging in the bathroom. I'm so sorry. So I was scrambling to not look like an idiot. So I ended up putting on a green jersey, completely different color. And luckily my dad ran back to the hotel and got the jersey, threw over the glass and put it on. But the coaches were kind of just chuckling and laughing. But they liked me either way. I made it through the first round of cuts, but I was, like you said, I stood out.
Oh yeah.
But you gotta find a way to stand out somehow, like that.
Yeah, I think for showcases and main camps and stuff like that, like, you got to do something that's going to make you unique. Like, even from the way your shin pads look, even the way your skates look, even the way, it's not even about style. It's how well put together do you look, right? Because even growing up, like, you just take a look at a player who is just, this guy is like weird flop. His laces are a different color. His clear tape isn't lined up properly. Maybe he's doing the cross thing.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe his jersey is like tucked weird. Like, I know that's not that big of a deal, but that's part of the eye test. That's part of, does this guy look like he plays or could play in the USHL? Does this guy look like he can play in the null? Does this guy look, or is this guy a tier 3 guy? Or is this guy a AA guy? Or, D1 players look like D1 players for a reason.
They have that look to them, right?
They have the look.
Yeah.
Is part of the look, figuring out with time. Yeah. But it's also like, I always had the mindset of like, look the part, be the version of that now of who you want to be. And yes, it's not all about looking, right? It's the game of, can you look the part and not give a shit about it? Can you look the part and just be like, no, I'm going to go out and focus on domination, but I look pro. I am a pro. Why do you think NHLers or pros or D1 guys, they wear suits or they wear like cool outfits nowadays? Cause like, you want to feel good. There's also the flip side of like just showing up with like sweatpants and a hoodie and a hat and like, don't even talk to me.
Right.
That's the other polarity. It's like, there's many things that work.
Yeah. But it's like the look good, feel good.
Yeah, sure. It's one of them. Yeah,
right.
One of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that you got noticed from a showcase.
So I got drafted by Muskegon, and so the next year, that tier 3 season, I went Empire to Elite. I finished the year with Elite. Was just banging 4th line minutes. It was okay. And the next year, I jumped to NCDC with the Islanders while drafted by Muskegon. And then that was my first I think that was the real junior season. Tier 3 was crazy. It was like just a bunch of idiots running around.
Yeah. And tier 3, I mean, back then I'm sure was a lot different, right?
Yeah, it was scary. There was a lot of 20-year-olds, and I was 15. It was a lot of 20-year-olds, and I have crazy, like there was a guy named Rocco Caraco. Shout out Rocco. I think he's
Rocco
trying
Caraco.
I think he's trying to fight in the UFC now. He's a dog.
No way.
We had a bunch. We had some crazy dudes on that team. It was just, I was so wide opening for me. I stayed out of everything. You know, I think that's a big thing. Is like if you're young, stay out of the shit. Stay out of the stuff.
Yeah, just play your game. If you're young, just stick to your path
And go home.
Yeah,
Go home after. Don't be a super beauty. Don't be a beauty. Do not be a beauty. But yeah, NCD. After that, it was
DC, right? Yeah.
No, it was Premier.
Premier.
It was still Premier,
Still Premier, right?
which is NCDC now.
Yep.
That was a great year for me. That was a really good year. Sean Tremblay, my coach, you know, he gave me the opportunity. I took it. Just again, there wasn't thinking about D1. It was just figuring my game out. But then that was the first year that, okay, I'm drafting the USHL. You know, Harvard's coming to look at me some games. Oh my God, Harvard was always my dream. It was my dream because low key, like, it was part of like what my mom wanted also, right?
Good school, right?
Yeah, it's a good school. Harvard, you're set for life, blah, 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 crimson red. So yeah, and then I think that was the year where like a little bit of more pressure came to be. And then I was also living, I was going to regular public school there. You know, it was a whole shakeup. It was like everything was new. And my sort of, my getaway was getting on the ice. I got a ton of reps that year. I would leave school. I was a senior. I would leave school at 12 and literally like skip some of the classes.
Just go skate.
And I would just go skate early before the practice, and then we'd have an hour and a half practice, and then yeah, it was just a lot of good repetitions. It was the first year that I felt like I was in juniors. I had my own CCM pro stock sticks that I got. A lot of guys nowadays, they're still using $350 sticks. Like go find a pro stock rep and get your stick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Save your parents some money, but also feel that ability to be a pro, feel that ability to be like a CHL player. You know what I mean? Where you have those pro stock sticks, they feel a little different. These are the subtle details, the subtle nuances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this was in Long Island, right? For the
I don't know. This was Andover, Islanders Hockey Club.
the Islanders Hockey Club, IHC. So you were going to public school up there,
Yeah.
and you finished out, I'm guessing, your senior year of high school there.
Yeah. And then at the end of the season, I got called up to Muskegon.
Oh, okay, that was when you get called.
So literally in 2 seasons, I went from Empire to playing with Andrei Svechnikov in Muskegon.
No way.
Right. It was crazy. Yeah.
Damn, that's a progression, man.
It's a progression. Yeah.
Wow. And then when you were there in Muskegon, the call up, it must have been a whole different
It was, yeah.
atmosphere
Again-
level, right?
Again, I was like, I made it such a big deal. I made it such a goddamn big deal. And I remember we get to Tri-City. The bus ride was criminal. I was legit the biggest rock ever. I had to sleep on the floor by the bathroom. I didn't get any sleep.
Ooh.
The next day we're playing Tri-City. And I'm slotted on the first line with Colin Adams, and I forget the other guy's name, but like 2 good players. And I just remember like I had so much swagger that first shift. I get out there and I'm out there for like I'm out there for a minute 20 my first shift. Like
minute 20.
Overdoing it.
Whoa.
Overdoing the shift.
Coach probably was not happy about that.
But I didn't care. Like I could care less at the time. I remember hitting a mid-range shot because I had a CCM Supertex, good mid kick. It had a good pop from long range. And I sent one from mid-range and it hit the crossbar. And I was like, it was a bad, looking back, it was the wrong reaction, but I was like, fuck, I needed that. Right? Where instead it should have been like, I'm like, let's get another one. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously from Premier to USHL, it's a jump, right?
Huge jump, yeah.
So like after that, like that game didn't really go that well, the rest of the game, but yeah, it was tough. It was a tough transition. That's kind of part of my faults in my career, having really big jumps like Premier to the USHL, NCDC to Boston University, right? And yeah, I played probably 3-4 games. I ended up scoring against the Chicago Steel. Maybe Toddy was playing there that time, honestly.
Maybe he was, dude.
I batted it in the air. I had a batting goal. It was pretty nasty.
Really?
And that was my goal. And then Playoffs, I didn't play. And yeah, it was hard though. I was struggling there though. I was struggling.
I mean, it's not easy.
Internally, like I just wanted to go home. I really just wanted to go home because I wasn't playing. I wasn't having a good time. Like it felt like just didn't feel like good vibes at the rink. But I was just like, all right, let's just stick this out. I'll get it. USHL on the fucking EP, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's the ego thinking too. That's the ego getting into all this stuff about like, you know, how you're being perceived. What do people think about you doing this? What do people, you know, all this stuff, right? But yeah, I ended up going to Panthers Development Camp that summer.
That same summer?
Yeah. So like
really?
Literally the progression is crazy.
Wow.
Like I'm going from Empire and in 2 seasons, I'm at an NHL camp. You know?
Like that, how common is that?
No, it's not.
No,
I felt
it's like-
great at that camp though. It felt amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like whenever you step into a new level, it's like a top level, you always have like this extra jump.
Different. Yeah.
It's like this different feel, right? When you like, you know, when you first step on the ice with pro guys, like at the Dev Camp, you have like this energy, right? I'm sure that's how you felt.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, you felt good in the ice.
For sure nervous, but then as the
nervous,
camp,
but then you
as the
get
camp
better,
went
yeah.
on, like
Yeah.
it was, you know, I had a couple apples in the game. Like I was like, bro, like it's not that hard. Like it's not that crazy. Right. And it's like, whoa, that opened my eyes to like, holy shit, like this is it's not that far away.
Yeah, you're almost there, right? So what was next after that summer?
Then a rude awakening, right? A rude awakening, a good off season of training. But then I think what a lot of guys deal with and what I dealt with a lot was slow starts to the year, right? I went into that year in Muskegon. My parents always told me just go in and start from the beginning. Just take it from the beginning, right? Just make the mark. I always had slow starts. I always needed a couple games a week, 2 weeks of power play reps to really get comfortable, right? I feel like a lot of high-end guys, they deal with that. They need the assurance. They need a little bit of somebody believing in them, right? And I had a big rude awakening in Muskegon, man. I was coming in like I feel like the man, you know, coming in from the last year being a rookie to coming into that training camp being like, yo, I went to Dev Camp. What did you do? You know, again, ego,
right? Yeah.
Ego is at an all-time high here, which is okay. We still have to have an ego, right? Everybody has an ego. Me, you have an ego. It's all your past experiences, who you are, who you think you are, your parents' beliefs, all that jazz, right? But you know that I was going into that year cocky, right? So I took it not easy at camp, but I was comfortable. I was comfortable at that camp because I was just like, yo, I'm gonna play here, right? We ended up having a preseason game against, I forget the team. We get ripped like 6-1. I had an apple in the third. I get pulled into the coach's office after they pull me in. You know, the GM's looking at me. He's a scary GM. And, you know, he looks at me. He's like, hey man, we're releasing you.
After having an apple.
Yeah, had an apple. Yeah, we're in a 6-1 loss. And I'm like, he's like, we're releasing you. And I just like, you know, the shock factor, it's like a trauma.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the stuff that gets imprinted in kids, players' minds when they get cut, when a coach says this, when somebody says that. It gets freaking imprinted in the subconscious and people don't know how to unravel that energy, right? The energy gets stuck, right? So I started bawling out and then I was like 17, bawling out. And I was like, why? You know, he's like, let me tell you why. Like, you want me to tell you why? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you don't fucking compete enough. Like, you don't compete enough, right? And then I left. And then I took my shit, packed up, went back to the Islanders. Thank God Sean Tremblay took me back in. But even back in going to Islanders Hockey Club again in the NCDC, I felt so good there. Still 6, 7, 8 games in, no points. It's like what's going on?
What's the block here? What's not clicking?
It's not clicking. And it took me a while. I remember just you know, I remember being so down on myself and so in a funk, and you know, that was my first year building with a really good family. A good built family is so crucial. It's so crucial. But yeah, I just went back to the roots. I just, you know, did a couple hill sprints, you know, extra stuff. Like that was the old programming before. The old programming was do extra work, put in more extra reps, you know, work harder than everybody. Yes, it's important. But yeah, that took me to a point where, okay, one game I remember had like a one-timer on a PK. It was crazy. And ended up scoring, and that was like the break. That was the break I needed. And then I had like 60 points that year. Or just shredded that year. It was
For Islanders, right?
For Islanders, yeah. Me and my roommate, we grinded that year a lot of extra sessions, a lot of extra shooting. People underestimate the amount of reps you do need at a specific age. You do need those reps. You do need to learn the mechanics on your own. That only happens through repetition, right? You can obviously hire a coach, right, to show you to speed it up. But that amount of time, you kind of need that for yourself, for your core skill set. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up, we won Islanders the year before, and then we won it this year too. So we won 2 championships.
You won the league twice.
Yeah, which was sick. And then I committed to UVM.
Islanders to UVM.
Yeah, and they were my only offer.
Really?
They were my only offer. And at this point, you got to understand, in my mind, I was like, bro, all I want to do is go D1. There was nothing else. Girls weren't in my mind. Boozing wasn't in my mind.
Nothing else.
No, I just wanted to go to that thing. And guess what? Like I said, when you grip it so much, that's the thing with Law of Detachment. You can talk about it, but until you experience it, until you learn the law for yourself, until you know how it works, right? Until you get rid of all those underlying unconscious energies, it's very difficult to detach, right? So even with me, I didn't really know about this stuff before, but think about it. I wanted it. UVM offers a 2 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn.
2 for 4 as in?
2 for 4 means I got to pay like probably $100,000.
Right, yeah, so it wasn't a full scholarship.
It wasn't a full scholarship. And I was like, bro, like my family, they've done enough. You know, that's the other faulty programming. Oh my God, I got to pay back my parents. I got to do this. I got to prove, I got to do that. You know, that's terrible shit. That's all bad. That stuff takes you out of flow state.
It's like baggage, right?
It's baggage. It's going to get you, it will get you to your goal. You're just, you're cutting your soul, you're cutting parts of your soul while doing it. That's the issue, right? Is you're using dirty, dark motivation, which you need dirty, dark motivation at times, but it's, man, too long of that will hurt your soul, right? We are all light. We are all light beings. You know, think about when you were a kid. Think about when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, before you learn that people have jobs, before you learned anything, we were so pure, we were so innocent, right? We couldn't. That's why a baby's crying. You're not getting mad at the baby. You're getting mad at the parent, right? The baby's just the baby. We're innocent souls, right? That's where pure flow state comes from. Is that kid-like energy, right? But you mix in some dark, you mix in a little bit of alter ego, you mix in some baggage from the past. Yeah, you can come up with a pretty nasty concoction, a pretty good cocktail that can get you through a good season or two, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting way of looking at things.
Yeah, that's the sports psych. I worked with plenty of sports psychs, and the sports psych way, they don't take into this stuff into account. They don't take energy. They don't take meditation. They don't take into account fire, light, this childlike feeling. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. But when I work with them, I didn't learn any of this stuff.
You had to kind of learn yourself or I guess study it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So UVM, right? Okay. So they offer you 2 for 4. Did you end up taking that offer?
Of course.
So you took it.
Of course.
Yeah.
For all the guys listening, if you have an offer, take that shit. Take the offer because it gives you that assurance, right? Which is still not the right mindset to just have this assurance because remember, you're putting your identity into the D1, right? You're getting the assurance from a D1 scholarship. You know, it doesn't make any sense. So I got the scholarship, But I was low key just like, damn, UVM 2 for 4. I was like, bro, like, oh my God. Like I felt almost like down. You know what I mean?
Even though you just got an offer from a D1 school, which was your whole goal.
My whole dream.
Right, yeah.
My whole dream.
And you still kind of felt a little down about it. That's funny.
Yeah. And the thing is, they didn't even offer me on the visit. They offered me after the visit. I was shaking in my boots.
Really?
Every time I also got an offer, it was just like right on the spot they offer you. You know what I mean? But they offered me like a couple days after I visited. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Sure. Got the commitment, posted it, all that jazz. Felt good. You know, fucking all that jazz. And then what happened after that year? Oh yeah, that year, go to Sioux Falls. I get drafted by Sioux Falls.
Back to USHL.
Yeah, back to USHL. Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls hooks it up. I rip up that camp, shred that camp. I deco before that camp. I decommit from before that camp because the head coach never talked to me one time, right? And then the assistant coach left, and the assistant coach was like, "Yo, you should head out of there." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So at that point, I already got my D1 assurance. I was like, "Oh, I'm a D1 player. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this shit." So I'm going to Sioux Falls, like just feeling lethal, right? No care in the world, right? And I shred that camp. I really rip up that camp. I get 15 offers from that camp.
Just from that camp?
15 offers, 15 Division I full ride offers.
Wow. Damn. And
Top-end schools. Top-end schools.
From like all over, from
Dartmouth,
Hockey East,
yeah,
ECAC, right?
Yeah, Dartmouth, UNH, St. Cloud, like, I mean, nothing crazy like Nodak or, you know, a Michigan, but Ohio State, Michigan State, you know, St. Cloud, UNH, Dartmouth. You know, looking back, maybe I should have went to Dartmouth, but like, it's all good. You know, it's all good in the hood.
Yeah. But you ended up going to BU though, right?
BU. Yeah, BU is the biggest one. And they offered me to go that year.
That same year.
Yeah. They were like, hey, like, it's up to you. Brady Kachuk's going to leave. He might not leave. If you commit, you'll have a good opportunity. If you don't, you know, you're going to be third lining it. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll take the risk. I'm a big risk taker. You know, I took the risk because I was like, bro, I'm like,
you want to go.
I see the level progressions. I'm like, I want more. I want more. Everybody always wants more. You know, you always want what you can't have.
You're just addicted to that high of just progressing in levels, right?
Yeah, and then it adds status. It adds people look at you different. People interact with you differently. You feel all this on a subconscious level. You know, so every other school said, you got to go play a year in the U show. I said, fuck you guys. I'm going to be you. I'm going to play in the NHL, you know? And yeah, I did. And then Brady Kachuk ended up signing, right? Brady Kachuk ended up signing. And I was like, oh my God, this is lining up perfect. It felt very aligned, right? What happens there is another rude awakening is the classic 2-level jump. Right, the 2-level jump from NCDC to a Hockey East. It's criminal. It was my first game. I was slotted in the second line. Play with Bobo Carpenter and Max Willman. Max Willman played NHL games. He's playing the KHL right now. We play against Mankato. We play against Mankato State, which is notorious for gathering 20 bombs. Their whole freshman class are 21-year-olds.
They're an older team.
Right. So think about 21 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm 18, 19. Right. And I'm like,
that's a big difference.
Yeah, but I was like 20% body fat still. Like I was just going on pure talent, swagger, mindset, all this jazz, alter ego. I was just going off all on this stuff, like to get me there. And yeah, the pace was just too much. Like it was, but honestly, looking back, I was nervous still. I was like, there was pressure on that game. The pace was crazy though. I couldn't handle the pace. I get scratched the next night. And then after that, you get buried. You lose your confidence very quick. Because again, the confidence is not true internally. It's all a facade. It's all fake.
It's a persona.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a persona that you put on that you build this ego over a course of 2-3 good seasons. And now you're like, I'm the shit. right? And then one thing happens and it all falls apart, right? So what do you do? I mean, dude, I remember at BU, it was like I was playing second peep. You know, I was playing, who did we have? We had Jake Ottinger, Dante Fabro, Joel Farabee. I was playing second power play while playing no 5-on-5.
So you're just a peeper guy.
Bro, I would go and play. I would play my right side 1T power play, and I would run that peep. And I'd play like maybe 2-3 minutes a night. If we had more peep, I'd play more. If not, I would not play 5-on-5, bro. It was crazy.
That is crazy. I've never heard of guys just playing peep. Like,
yeah, that was the peeps. The peeps. I was
peep
feeling good
specialist.
in the peep, man, dude. I don't know. They wanted me on the. They were like, yeah, go play.
peep merchant.
I guess, dude.
Wow, dude. But then you play, obviously, you know, you counted some struggles at BU. You ended up going back to the USHL, right? So then what was that like? I mean, must have been like, oh,
Scary.
shoot. You know,
Scary. A lot of fear. This is where fear pops up. Fear.
Because you're losing a year of eligibility, right?
No. At that time, you're chilling.
Oh, you were chilling.
At that time, you just have to do schooling. At that time, you just had to do a community college year. But listen, the whole time, this is where the fears come in. The fears are like, am I actually a D1 hockey player? Am I good enough to play at this level? Oh my God, I have to go back to the USHL. I never played in the USHL. Can I even perform in the USHL? Holy shit, all these fears. No, I don't want to leave BU. The ego gets stuck. The ego is like, no, I'm BU. This is rock star lifestyle, full ride, you know, Instagram. Like the ego, the identity becomes so tied to that, right? And then the fear settles in. What if I get caught? What if they release me in exit meetings? What if they do this? What happens when you have fears? Typically you manifest those fears. What happened? I got cut. Thankfully, Oliver David from Dubuque, USHL, Cali, great GM. They call me. They bring me in with open arms. I have a conversation with OD, and he sets me straight. He's like, "Hey man, you're gonna learn. You have to play the right way. I'm gonna let you do your thing. You're skilled. All this jazz. You're creative. You're an artist, right?" And I was like, "Okay, man, sounds great." Dubuque ended up being the best year of my life. The best year of my life. I mean, there's obviously other personal stuff in between all of this, right? That's causing adversities and hardships and girlfriends and this and that and like the stuff that you can only talk to if you had like, you know, somebody in your corner that you can really open up to. You know what I mean? But, you know, Dubuque was great, man. I had a great start. Again, what was carrying me in Dubuque? The ego. I stuck with the ego. I stuck with,
you're a D1 player, right?
I'm coming back from BU.
Yeah.
Like I had Gucci slides coming into camp. And I have nothing to hide. Like this is my story. I could give a shit what people think about me, you know. I came in like that, you know, and I wrote it. I had a great start. Was playing with great players, playing with Reese Gaber. He's playing in the American Hockey League right now. Copperwood, ASU. Yeah. ASU, absolute legend. The Jackson twins. We had Eric Portillo. He's an LA draft pick. Wyatt Kaiser on the Blackhawks. Who else did we have? We had a loaded freaking team. A loaded team that year. Anybody else in the Braden Doyle, my buddy, drafted by LA. We had a really good team, and it was fun. It was fun. It was a year of just like, was I going to community college? Yeah, that was whatever. But
chill, yeah.
It was fun, man. It was just like hockey, bag skates, like a lot of compete there. You know, the fire was there that year. It was great fire. It was great development. Was there things that hindered the fire that year? Yeah, it was stuff that took me away from the game. It was stuff that you know, certain things that pulled me away from that, you know, relationships, you know, worrying about the wrong things. You know, that's the stuff that pulls you away. Well, other than that, really good year. That was COVID year. COVID year.
I see. That was a very different year. I mean, it was like, that was a crazy year for everyone.
Yeah, that's when I got cut. So COVID year, like in February, I think we were going to win it that year. We had a really good team.
Oh, and they canceled the
rest
of the season.
Y'all had to go home.
Yeah, that's right.
Y'all had to go home.
Yeah. So then after that year, you go back to D1. Ohio State. Yeah.
First year Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, right?
Big Ten.
Yeah.
Again,
that?
first game, it's like a test. There's always a test for your career. There's always those moments where you're like, what are you made of? Right. But yeah, I figured it out in the second and third. I found my flow. I found I was able to make some big plays and like be creative in that game and go back to what I'm about as a player. And yeah, after that, it was like, okay, like I can play here. It's all good. It's always this like game of like, am I worthy here? Am I good enough here? Right. Once you get over that hump, you get a point, you get a goal or whatever that is, you're good. So I had a really good year that year. Fun year, just like fuck around year. And, school was a bit of a joke and, lived with a good roommate. It was just me and him. So things were pretty tight, chill. Ended up getting invited to LA Dev Camp that year.
That was your sophomore season?
Yeah.
Or after sophomore season, you got invited?
Yeah, but it was COVID, so it didn't work out. They didn't have the camp that year. And, it ended up going. And then, that was the first year where I was like, man, if I just have a good summer, if I just have a good year the next year, like I'll get an NHL deal. I'll get my deal. Because the Big Ten back then, like if you have 1 or 2 good years, I was coming off a pretty good season. You have another good year, you're good. You can sign, and I think that's when the self-sabotage started, right? We talk about the unconscious. We talk about the stuff surfacing from the bottom. I think at the core, I really just wanted to be enough, right? And when I had, okay, points are good, hockey's good. Okay, what else am I missing in my life, right? And you try to find the next thing, relationships, this, that. Like you try to find something to fulfill you, right? Because like when I talked before about getting to BU in 3 years after tier 3, when I got to BU, I was not fulfilled. I was cold in my heart. There was wanting of going more and more and more. I want more, right? We talked about that before. And it's like, when I had the points and I had Ohio State, I had first line, I had PEEP, I had everything, I was like, I'm missing something. Internally, I was missing something. And then that's when the self-sabotage started. Basically, that year just did not go well. What happened? I got a girlfriend. What happened? I naturally started taking my focus off the ball because I was comfortable. I was like, oh, I could have a comfortable year. I'm a junior. I could figure it out, right? No, like things happen quickly. I still had like 12 and 15 that year in the first half, right? And then the second half, I had no points, right? Was there things going on internally, family, relationships, stuff like that? Yeah, bro, but everybody has problems, right? Everybody has problems. But internally, what I'm trying to make the point of is I was not fulfilled. Even if I got an NHL deal, I would not have been fulfilled in my heart, right? That was a really hard year for me. It was a really hard year because I didn't have a single point. I was finished the year 4th line. I went from being first line guy to 4th line guy.
That's hard. That's hard, man.
Yeah, but then again, it breaks your ego. And why is God putting myself in these situations? Why does God put you in these situations? It's to break you, to break this programming so you can come back to something larger. So you can stop trying to do it on your freaking own. So because you're not supposed to do it on your own. We're human, we're flesh. Like we're not supposed to do all of these hardships, all these adversities. Yes, like I'm not even religious. I'm not like the classic Jesus died for your sins. Yes, he did that so he can take your burdens, give your burdens away. Right? That's how you find true fulfillment. Is you give those things that you're struggling with away. Right? Eventually you figure out why you're struggling with, you get through that, all that jazz. But man, we're not supposed to deal with these things on our own. Right? And parents, friends, girlfriends, yes, that's support. But at the core, where is your core, right? I was missing the core at the time. And looking back, I could see that. The next year, started off that season. That was the season I got into visualization. I was like, oh, I'm gonna manifest this stuff. I'm gonna get this goal. I'm gonna get the NHL deal, right? And that's forcing it. That's forcing all of that. It's not letting things flow. What happened? Of course, rude awakening again, right? Big injury. First game, first shift against Mercyhurst the next year, right?
This is your senior season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
First shift.
Oh my God.
What are the odds, right?
Terrible.
First shift. I had a baller off season. I was training with NHLers. I was training like a legit national leaguer. And first shift, just cooked the shoulder. I was out for like 3 months. That was my first real injury. Didn't know how to get away from it. I was worrying. That's when fear, worry, desperation, all low-level vibrational things. And I try to come back early. You know, I get cooked again by Minnesota. I get cooked by Minnesota in 3 months. Bam, the shoulder is gone at this point. AC joint, the thing's just like floating. You know, it's not a good sign. I ended up getting surgery that year and call it that season. And just a lot of adversity that year for sure. Surgery, all that jazz. Like, people don't know, like, surgeries are tough to deal with. You know, it's a hard thing. It messes with the psyche, especially it messes with the psyche. And that was a hard year for sure, senior year.
But you're able to eventually find a deal with a pro team, right? You signed a pro contract.
No, then I went to Sacred Heart.
Oh, that's right. You did a master's.
Sacred
Masters. Is that where you met Toddy?
Yeah, I met Toddy there.
That's when
I lived in his old room, man.
Oh,
I lived in his old room.
This all makes sense. And Sacred Heart Masters, like, okay, yeah. And that was so you did one more because of COVID, right? You got the 5th year. Was that part of it?
5th year. I honestly had another year. They just think things didn't work out.
Yeah.
That was also, you know, an interesting year. Like, a lot of adversity going from the last year, got to prove myself again, you know, but, you know, you're coming from Ohio State to Sacred Heart. You're going with it also another level of swagger. And, I mean, I was ready, you know, I was ready to have a good year. But again, changing too many things. I changed my curve. I changed my flex. I changed this. This is all tweaking. This is not trusting yourself. This is lack of flow state. This is you not being able to trust your core self. This is what so many people deal with. You know, how do you trust yourself? Just trust yourself to, like, yo, I don't have to do as many extra reps now because I'm just good. I'm enough. You know, I'm good enough now, you know? And, I was using, like, I don't know. I couldn't find the back of the net at the beginning. I had a ton of apples. But yeah, then I had the collarbone injury. So I broke my collarbone. That was the one-handed game. I scored a goal one-handed in shootout. And, literally on a,
Look, one-handed, you just...
Yeah, like
no way.
In the shootout, I had a broken collarbone, and I broke my collarbone in the second. I thought it was just fine. I tried to play out the rest of the game. I couldn't play it. Overtime went on. We're playing against Princeton, and I didn't play for like a period and a half at that point, right? Because I'm just sitting on the bench cold. And then coach is like, oh, like, do you want to go? You know, shootout? I'm like, bro, like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And I'm just like, okay. And I didn't have a shoulder. My shoulder was gone. And then I just, you know, I was practicing the one-handed thing since Ohio State.
Like Crosby does that sometimes, right? He does that.
Yeah.
He's really good at that one-handed little.
Yeah. That was that. And then that was pretty much the end of the year. I got surgery and then came back for playoffs and all that jazz. But yeah, after that, then I was kind of forced to, you know, I was forced to go pro because they couldn't get me back in for another year. I was supposed to stay another year. They couldn't get me in. And obviously, what did I do? I went to the KHL. I had a KHL in, went to training camp there, didn't work out. Again, gripping, trying, forcing, trying to do it on my own. I want this. I want the contract. I want this, right? You don't let it flow. You don't let it happen, right? This is the holistic side of it. This is past the mental game. This is using laws of the universe. This is God. This is letting things happen naturally, right? I leave the KHL. They actually offered me a two-way contract right when I was about to leave. So that's how you know, like, the industry, the leverage. Like, once you're about to leave, they're like, oh, why don't you stay for a two-way? You know, in hindsight, should I have taken that two-way deal in the KHL? Probably. But I was like, no, I want to go to the U.S. I got a deal.
You want to stay in the U.S.
Yeah. I got a deal in Abbotsford for a PTO. I was like, oh my God, I'll make this team. I don't know how the freaking pro game works. Bam, you know, had a good camp, scored a goal in the game, like, again, showed up, and then bam, back to the coast, right? And the coast, that was the whole thing. But the coast season was really, that was a really deep layer. And this was the time in my life, even in Sacred Heart, where I was getting deep into hypnosis, deep into subconscious reprogramming, deep into all these limiting beliefs, deep about shedding these parts of me, because I was like, man, I have so much more to offer. I have so much more to offer to this game. I have so much more to offer to hockey. I have so much more flow state in me. And yeah, I mean, the East Coast was a big year. That was when I really was like, yo, like, that was the year I connected to God. That was the year where I was so many times in my career where I've talked to God. He was a part of me, right? I was asking him. It was transactional, but this was the first year.
You felt connected.
Yeah, I got caught, and I was like, I let go of that part of me. I let go of this hockey persona part of me, right? And I was like, oh my God, you know, I felt the love. I felt the love from after the fear. Now that's what a lot of guys do when they work with me is we do this fear meditation process where we go deep into the root fear, the fear of not making it, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of not giving back to your parents, the fear of making a mistake, which is the surface level, you know, the fear of what is this guy going to think of me, right? And we shed that, and what comes out at the other end? It's love. They always feel love. They always feel worthy enough. They feel like they don't have to prove. And then the game just happens naturally because they feel the love. Whether you believe in God or universe or whatever you believe in, it's a love vibration. It's a very high level vibration. It's the vibration your parents gave you. It's the vibration that you have unconditional support and love, right? That's
how you should feel, right?
That's how you should feel on a freaking 24/7 basis. But everybody, especially in the hockey industry, there's old school coaches, there's getting scratched, there's getting cut, there's all this fear, there's injuries, there's so much fear, worry, stress, right? And people, because they don't know these things, they have to live in that. They live day to day in stress. Like you go to the coast and like I remember even D1 in the coast, I'm worried driving to the rink, you know.
If you're going to play that night or if you're even on a team, right?
Bro, no,
pet.
I'm worried if I'm going to make it to the rink on time.
Yeah.
Not even about getting, I'm worried about, am I going to miss this meeting by 2 minutes? That's the level of like, when you do flow state, when you live this way, okay, it's a way of living. It's not a fucking I go into the rink, I turn on my alter ego, I get into flow state, I turn it off. Yeah, bro, for sure. But it's a way of living. You're not stressed at all during the day. You're just enjoying, you're living, you're being present, right? It's what everybody talks about, being present, all that jazz, but it really is a way of life. You have to go all the way in order to, because if not, hockey's going to end. And then what? You're going to go to get a job. You're going to start a business. You're going to start a family. And there's going to be all this fear, worry, stress, right? It doesn't end. It doesn't end.
Yeah. Wow. That's, no, it doesn't end. Seriously. You got to find a way to live with it. Like you said, through a flow state mindset, right? You got to let go and just let go of that stress, all that, you know, that mentality, right? You got to learn to live with it.
It's hard
to develop your own.
Yeah,
right?
It's hard because we're programmed to think that you need the stress or you have to struggle in order to make it. I think there is suffering. I think that there's trials and tribulations and suffering that you must go through, right? But remember, it's always working out for you, right? But the stress, man, it's part of the identity where you think, no. It's okay, I'm stressing out, but it's like, I'm gonna get through this. Yeah, like you're forcing through the goddamn freaking door. You're forcing yourself through the window. You're trying to get in the house. But maybe you don't have to even go in that house right now. Maybe that's not the right house for you. Maybe you gotta go on a walk for 10 minutes. Maybe you gotta go on a walk for a year. Maybe you gotta forget about this house.
Yeah. I mean, that's a new way of thinking. I kind of never really internalized a lot, you know. I think for me, I have my own mindset, my own things, and you know, my own goals. And sometimes it's worth taking a step back, right, and looking at, okay, well, is this thing worth pursuing? Is this taking too much of a mental toll for me? You know, that's a great point, you know. And then you're still playing pro now, right? Yeah. I played last year in Belarus. It was Belarus,
first year in pro. Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. That was
talk about what was Belarus like?
Yeah, I get there and it was nuts, man. I couldn't get cleared for 3 months.
Visa or?
No, heart issues.
Oh, heart issues.
Nervous system was jacked up. That's what people don't talk about. The nervous system gets so jacked up. And there's a lot of testing in Belarus. and I just wasn't passing the heart test. I had a little bit of heart issues early on in my career, but I couldn't get cleared. And then another shedding process. I don't want to make this too much about the shedding process, but I had to keep letting go. I had to let go of more, man. And then once I let go of what I needed to let go, I was able to just like play how I wanted to play, right? It was interesting though. There was like
the season itself, I'm sure.
Man, there's just like you're playing in Russia, man. You're playing in Belarus. You know, it's a culture shock.
Yep.
The doctor's smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? I remember one time I was in the doctor's office, and he's a beauty. I love the guy. We were sitting in the doctor's office, and you know, I had some I couldn't get past the heart issue, and at the time, a lot of hockey players obviously they chew tobacco, right? So I was chewing back then. I quit now, but I was chewing back then, and I was asking the doctor. I'm like, hey, like, is it okay if I chew? You know, is that going to affect the cardiogram, the heart issue? Is that going to affect all this stuff? He asked me, he's like, how long you been chewing? I'm like 3-4 years. He's like, nah, you're fine. Just probably. He's like, you're better off doing it. You know?
Wow.
I'm like, okay. But I was like, what about like beers? What about like drinking?
Yeah.
You know, he's like beers. Yeah. No, he said for sure. He says you it's not that you can drink. It says you need to.
Oh, you need to drink.
You need to drink. So I was like, oh my God, this is like, that was like my welcome to Russia type of moment.
Russian medicine.
Russian medicine. Yeah, I was hooked on like IVs half the year.
Wow.
It was nuts, man. It was interesting though. It was an experience. Like the people are very nice there. Belarusian people are super kind. Very safe country. So I have nothing bad to say about it. It was just a whirlwind of a year. There was a lot of adversity, but you know, top G hockey, which was, I used to call it, now it's called flow state hockey, that grew a lot too. All the guys, we all kind of continuously grew together in that year. And this was the year that we cracked everything. This was the year that everybody really found their flow state. They were really able to like pull the alter ego, pull the detachment, pull the reprogramming, pull the visualization, pull the fear meditation. We were able to pull it all together and make it really, it just clicked. It was the first time it really clicked. And that's partially the reason why I'm still playing is like, okay, it clicked and I was able to taste it. Right? I was able to taste it for 20 or so games, but man, it's fun. It's when you're able to enter that state of not only just flow state, but the next level above of pure domination, of pure just give me the puck and you're on it. You're not thinking at all. You're just flowing. You're the man. You're demanding it. It's just happening all at once. You're a magnet to the puck. When you're able to do that, it's very hard to not want to do that. That's one of the only reasons why I'm still probably, pursuing hockey is because of that feeling. Like you can achieve that flow state obviously in many things in life, but hockey, I think there's more to inspire. I think there's more to give to the game right now. So I don't know, man. It's like, again, it's not up to you. It's not up to you. That's what I'm learning over the years. It's not up to you to figure out how. You don't need to worry about the how. Okay, that's the whole idea. It's like if you're worrying about the how, you're putting yourself above the higher power because you're thinking, oh my God, I can do this. I can figure out more than actually the creator of the universe. Imagine that. Just so you can do more. You can plan it out better than the creator of the universe.
Yeah, it's not sure how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, but now on to SoFlo. Tell me about let's say someone's never heard of what SoFlo is. Could you kind of sum it up?
Yeah, I would say it's interactive culture of hockey players in the summer and eventually during the regular season of guys who just want to compete. They want to flow. They want to show up and have a competitive atmosphere in the summers, right? And we have NHLers, Andrew Peak, Lomberg, Ekblad. Every year we have more Russians. Russians love Florida, so we have so many. We have so many guys, and it's just a good nesting pot of guys that train in Florida. But then they can keep those competitive juices flowing, and it's fun. I started with my buddies. It's turning into something really large now. I think eventually, if we hold the vision, I think it's going to be a new way of playing hockey, a new way where it's like, now they're doing all the flag football leagues,
right? Yeah.
Like basketball's doing it, right?
Isn't it like a 3-ice league or a 3-on-3 league?
Yeah, 3-ice. I mean, I don't know about 3-ice. Like I think it was on the big sheet. We
Right.
play on a very small sheet.
Yeah.
We don't talk about 3-ice. we do our own thing. We have our own vision. We have our own
thing. Yeah,
we're building our culture. Everybody's trying to build something similar in leagues nowadays. But I think like we think bigger. We think larger scale. We think of like, where can this be in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? There's a reason why the NFL is an entertainment business, right? It's
Ultimately, that's what it is, right?
It's filed as an entertainment business.
Right.
The UFC is filed as an entertainment business, right? Hockey is hockey. Hockey is a great sport. It is fear-based. Hockey is fear-based, right? SoFlo is almost an extension of that ability to be a creative artist. It's the extension of being able to be like, man, I can just show up, be a pro, put on a show, and I can just play how I want to play. There's competitive juices, there's rivalries, there's yelling, there's screaming, but there's so much creativity, right? It's great. There's so many different people, different cultures, Canadians, Russians, Americans, right? There's so many that come together, and it's great. Great.
Yeah.
This year we're expanding. We're gonna have tickets to come to the events every Monday. So it's super exciting.
That's awesome, because I see it always on social media. It's like, oh, this is a really cool new idea down in Florida of all places, like it's a growing hockey market, right? Right?
Yeah.
Like Florida itself,
I mean, they just won the cup, so.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's like Florida is like, people don't think of hockey in Florida normally, but looks like, it's a growing market. They won the cup, Panthers won the cup, right? And what you're building, I always see it. It looks really cool, man.
Yeah. Little by little.
Little by little, man. It's not easy building, these things. So I totally get it.
No, it's a grind too. It's a grind. Like I got obviously Cole, my partner Timmy, Nico Blatchman. Shout out Blatchy. We got a good. It's just a good group down there. So we're excited. It's always June 30th we start all the way to August 15th, something like that. Now in Baptist Health, where the Panthers practice.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I mean, thank you for your time. I mean, like, obviously this was one of the more, I guess, deeper interviews I've done. I learned so much personally about just the detachment style, like just detaching yourself. That's what you preach. And it is really eye-opening, that perspective, right? Of not gripping so much to these things that, ultimately don't define you. And I think this is that's the ultimate lesson. I think that this was, for me personally, this interview, I thought that was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a pleasure. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's great to be here, but this is great what you're doing, man.
Awesome. Thanks, man.